What I want to show you is we talked about the referral system, and like Bob said, we just, I want to just master on the front end of getting people up, up front. And so I'm going to basically tell you about when do you get them, how do you get them, and what do you do with them. And so first, when I start talking about when do you get them, I want you to underline the word after. This is the key, after you make some type of mini or develop some type of mini relationship with that person first. And the best way to do it is by asking the right questions. And the key is, again, right question. Underline that word. And if you ask the right questions, it'll take about 10 to 15 minutes. And I want you to give you a little bit of story to remember this. I just heard this at Van Camp, and this was great, the other day, and it burned in my brain the importance of this. And it was about a guy that owned a business, and he was very successful, and the one evening his system went down, and he realized he'd have to call one of his key employees at home late at night, and he really didn't want to do that because he knew he had young kids. And so he said, I don't have a choice, I got to call. So he calls on the phone, and this guy's young daughter answers the phone, whispering. And she says, hello. And he says, is your dad there? Yes. Can I speak to him? No. Why not? He's busy. All right, well, is your mom home? Yes. Can I speak to her? No. How come? She's busy talking to a policeman. A policeman? Why is the policeman, there? What's it? He's talking to mommy and daddy. And a fireman. And a fireman, a fireman. And can you imagine this is one of the guys you hire, right? What the heck's going on at home? Is there problems? Or, and then just like that in the background, he hears a noise, and he's saying, what is that? What's that noise in the background? And she says, it's a helicopter. Well, why is the helicopter there? What are they looking? They're searching. What are they searching for? Me. Now, here, listen to the point. The point is, had he asked the right question, one question in the beginning, you wouldn't have to go through. What was the question? Why are you whispering? You see, I said the key is you ask the right questions. And I'm telling you, if you do, and there's been a study, listen to this. One thing I put out is questions lead to answers. Answers lead to commonalities. Commonalities create unbreakable bonds. When you look at the right questions, listen to this. They did a study. I love this. Van Camp did a study. They have 1,200 advisors, they said this year, in this country will net earns over $1 million in securities. Just in securities, $1 million. And they said, what is the common denominator that those 1,200 people have? And here it was. They asked 8 questions. And here's the thing. Here's what they said. If you only ask 48 questions, you get 58% of their assets. If you ask 6 of the 8, you get 73%. And if you ask 8 out of 8, you get 100. How many would like 100? I look at this and I say, I basically ask 7 questions. And it's very simple. When I'm talking to somebody, when we do a flip chart presentation, I basically am asking, how do you know third party? What did third party say that caused us to get together? What do you do for a living? Do you see yourself there to retirement? If something came along that had the potential for a major career improvement, are you open to offers? What does financial freedom mean to you? And on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad you want it? And I'm telling you, you ask those questions, you will know exactly how to recruit somebody. You will know exactly how to close them. And you will have built a bond where they will open up and give you their referrals. Now, we keep talking referrals, but folks, you understand this? Is you've got to create some type of bond with that person before a person is going to trust you with their friends. You understand that? Because there's a lot of people, most people value their friendships more than their money. So the key is you got to have a bond. And I proved this again. I mean, we just came off an unbelievable inner circle trip. And Bob, I was so thank you personally. We just had a great time. And the one day we were in the pool. In fact, Brian and I were together. We were going up to get a drink. What a place! All you can eat, all you can drink. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We're going up to remember Rodney? We're going up to get a drink, and at the pool bar. And, you know, we're Brian grabs a seat. I'm going to the other one. This other guy's like trying to muscle me out for the seat. And we just kiddingly. And so we started talking. I just said, I just asked him 3 questions. Where are you from? And I said, what do you do for a living? And do you see yourself at a retirement? I didn't even get through the 7 questions. Folks, I asked 3 questions. Brian, you were right there, right? This guy's telling me, he tells me what he did. He said, you know, the second you get people talking about themselves, he said, I'm here because my wife won a trip. I said, you know, she works for State Farm. I said, how long has she been in the business? Basically 12 years, and this is the first trip they ever been on. I said, God, we get a trip like almost every other month. And he said, I like to travel. How do you do that? I mean, it's ridiculous how easy it is to bring people in. And then he's telling me, when I asked what he did, he said he's the head of maintenance for a health club. He said, I'm at that club so much, I should look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he was very frustrated. And in a matter of a few minutes, he just told me, when I said, do you see yourself there at retirement? He said, absolutely not. And he's telling me in that little bit of time, just what do you do? And he's going on and on. He told me how much is in his 401k plan, how he invests his money. I didn't even ask him any of those questions. But that's what happens. And then he got into his own hot button. He said, what really turns me on. I'm asking 3 questions now, Brian, am I right? I mean, he's sitting right next to me. I'm asking 3 questions. And he's telling me, man, you know, one thing I want to do for my kids. I have 3 daughters. And the thing that's important to me is they're getting ready to go to college. And the last gift I feel I can give them is to pay for their college education. I just asked 3 questions. I didn't ask him any other stuff. And I said, well, when do they start to go to college? He said, next year. And I said, how much money do you have? He said, not enough. But here's the guy telling me that's a burning desire. This guy could not wait. He said, right, you got to give me your card. He's in Tennessee. I'm in Pennsylvania. Do you think he cares? When somebody wants something bad enough, they'll figure out a way, even if they don't know how. And this guy is absolutely excited. And I ended up doing that 4 times just on our inner circle trip. And I love what people talk about 3-foot rule. I love only 3-footing I like to do is called follow your money. I love to play a game that anytime I buy something, my goal is I want it for free. That's why I love to go with Bob on the inner circle trips. I want it for free. I don't care what item I buy. My goal is to get it free, which means what? I got to get the person who's already selling me this. I got to get them in the business so I can do their business to get all my money back. I mean, that's just how I think. You understand? I don't 3-foot just to bring people in the back. 3-foot to get my money back. You got to have some kind of motive. You understand? All right? But does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying? So the key is you got to develop some type of relationship. If you just come into their home and you run right into giving a presentation and then you try and get referrals on that, they're going to say, I can't think of anybody. Now, you know that's not true, but you didn't develop any kind of relationship with them yet. Does that make sense? So what I start to do is when I get in, you know, and after I in that 10 to 15, if you ask the right questions, it takes 10 to 15 minutes and they'll tell you everything about it. I mean, it's ridiculous. Can you imagine someone says, listen, here's a script on how to recruit me, close me, and get all the people I know. I'm telling you, this is what will happen. And so once I establish that fact, I know when I'm ready to go in. And I say, listen, I'm here for 2 reasons. 1, I'm here to help your family develop a plan for financial freedom. And 2, I'm here to ask for your help. And they said, well, what do you need help? I said, listen, what do you hear? I'm in charge of expansion. I'm looking for some people who may have an interest in either developing a very strong, and I always emphasize that, strong second income, or possibly a career change if the money was right. Now, I don't say, who do you know and I want something now. I don't say that. I say what'll happen is I know as I go through this presentation, there's going to be a couple of names that's going to instantly pop into your head, and when they do, I just want to make a note of that on my card. That's how I get the green card out on the table. I don't just throw it out. Like, you throw this out without doing what I just said, and they say, what the heck's that? Why is the guy doing that? I just want to make a note of that on my card. And I put it on the table, and the reason I put it on the table is for two reasons. One, while I'm going through the presentation, I just programmed that guy's subconscious mind, and I said, what did I say? I said, I know as I go through this presentation, there'll be a few names that'll instantly pop in your head. I'm already programming that to happen. It don't happen by accident. So that green card on the table is while he's listening to me, his subconscious mind's already doing what I ask. I'm searching for names. And the other reason I do it is so I don't forget to get them. Does that make sense? Two reasons. That's why I do it. So that's number one. That's how you get them. Number two, or the first one was, when do you get them? The second is, how do you get them? And then what I start to do is, if there's usually maybe a name that'll come out, in the process, and even if there isn't, basically what I'm doing is at the very end, when I got the green cards, if there's none on there, I'm simply saying again, who do you know that may have an interest in a strong second income, possibly a career change if the money was right? And if they say to me, I can't think of anybody, and I said, I got a neat little game to play. Now I call it the name game. And so I have the list, just like what you all got, right? And I said, what basically this is a group of adjectives, what describes the most successful people in our company. So in other words, our company put together, say, who are these successful people, in our business? They put together a list of common adjectives, on here. And what I'm going to do is I like to play a game. Do people like to play games? I mean, you see up here today, trying to somehow go through referral, depending on the right people. That's like a grind, wasn't it? For Bob Jr., right? That was a grind today, depending on the people you're. But I just want to play a game. And so what I've said is, I'm gonna go through this. So I said, I want you to sit back, and you gotta tell people what you want them to do. I tell them, sit back and relax. Look up at the ceiling. I don't look at them. I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to whip through these adjectives, and the second I do, there's going to be a name that will pop in your mind. I don't want to know nothing about them. I don't want to know anything about them except their first name. And I want to do this drill in less than 2 minutes. And what I say to them, and the closer I get to starting, the faster I talk. And then they're getting like, they're getting like really fired up themselves. They're getting ready to play, and they know it's a 2-minute drill. And I say, okay, I said, who do you work with? And then I start writing right down there. Who'd you eat lunch with yesterday? Who's a neighbor on your left? And they're, John, Sally. I mean, they're not thinking. I don't want them to think. I want the subconscious mind. That's where all the good people are. If they gotta think about who would be good, what are you gonna get? I can't think of anybody. You understand that? Does that make sense? And when I get done with it, it's less than 2 minutes. I'm finished with this. And I average 18 names in less than 2 minutes. And people say to me, when they're done, it's almost like I have to wake them up from the trance. And I count them and I said, you realize you just put 18 people here. They said, get out of here. 18. It only felt like I talked like 2. And I tell you, this is just awesome the way this will work. And then the next key is, you gotta qualify them. You gotta qualify these people. There's 18 on here. And you gotta qualify them basically into 2 categories. They're either gonna be a white card, a green card, or the wastebasket. Right? Now, the key in qualifying people is, again, asking the right question. You can't say out of these 18 names, okay, John is the first one you said that works with you, came to your mind first. Let me ask you a question. Do you think John would be good at selling insurance? Not a good thing. Just don't, it's not going to work. Understand? And the second you blow off number one, the rest you might as well throw this in the garbage can. So all I simply say is, a question I know I'm going to get a yes answer to. I said, now let's think about John. Let me ask you this question. If something came along that had the potential for a major career improvement, do you think John would be open to offers? What do you think they say? Well, yeah. First of all, who would it be? Listen, do you understand that you got 81% of the people in this country are actively looking at changing careers? That means I don't care what the heck you're doing. If you just ask 8 out of 10 people are going to say yes because they're looking. You don't have to be very fancy at this thing. So he said, yeah, John would be. So then, this is when I get to, so John would be a good candidate. So I'm writing right now on the green cards. The key is people think all the time that it's the phone scripts are the key to getting a lot of people to come to the briefing on the front end. That has nothing to do with it. What has to do with it is how well you qualify the person you're talking to. That's the key, not what you say. So I go down through the list and I have their name. How do you know them? I want to know I want to know as much information about this person as I can, because the more information I get, the more I'm feeding it back to him when I'm talking to John on the telephone. Does that make sense? So I say, how do you know him? What does John do for a living? Okay, why do you believe that John would be a good candidate? I want people selling me on why I should pick up the phone and call him. And then any special interest. Oh yeah, he loves Rush Limbaugh. That was just one I just got. And so now, see, this way when I call John, see, if you don't get the information when you call John, John's questioning, why are you calling me? I don't know you. So if you ask them about coming to a briefing, they're not going to do it, because what they really want to do is talk to third party to make sure you really gave them the name and you didn't get the name off the restroom wall, right? You understand that? So the more information you feed back, the more they know that you know. I'm telling, this is the key. Qualify. So I go down through the list, and then you may get to somebody then that, say, oh, you got a Joe. Oh, who is Joe? It was your brother. Oh, you're my brother. Nah, he wouldn't be a good candidate. And then I usually say, why not? Well, he's really backwards, and he's just, I just don't believe. Well, I said, let me ask you a question. Is Joe married? Yeah. Does he have kids? He has his own home. He has over 25. I go right down through steaming him, and asking the questions whether he's a 5 or 6 pointer. Now, guess what? If he's a 5 or 6 pointer, he goes what? On the white card. I got him on the white card. And so when I go down through this whole thing, and then there's some that may be nothing, and just like you heard Ann say, you can pick and choose. You don't have to go out on a 1-pointer to do an F&A. You don't have to. Now, if you got no place to go and then steam them and do what I'm telling you to do right now, and you'll build up 18 in one shot. That's worth it. But you're going there for that reason, not because you're trying to do business or bring them into business. So what happens when I go through this list, I get 18. And out of 18 names, 9 of them are green cards. I get them right up front, first visit. 9 of them are green cards. 4 are white cards. And 5 are people that I'm not interested in. Okay? Does that make sense? And then when we call, the notes that we're getting again, I'm getting, right now when I pick up the phone and call these green cards, and I did a 4-year study, and Bob will tell you, when I started with him, I report my numbers to him every single week. 3 o'clock, one day he gets my numbers every week. To me, if you don't want to be accountable, you're crazy. In fact, the more money you make, the more you want to be accountable, because if you have a train wreck at the bigger levels, it costs you millions. I don't want it to cost me millions. And so what I did is for 4 straight years, I monitored every time I picked up the telephone and called on these green cards. 4 straight years. And what I did is, 1, Bob got my numbers, and 2, my team got my numbers. Because we wanted to start power hours that many years ago, and I wanted to prove to people, listen, if you bring your green cards, I'll make the calls for you, because I want to lead from the front, I want to show them what to do, and I want to give them the confidence. And I said, I'll make the calls for you, so you can come watch me. And then each week I reported my numbers back to the team. So they say, oh my God, I'm lousy on the phone. I'm no good. But Ron's good. All I got to do is show up in Power Hour and he'll make my calls. Cause I said, if you give me the green cards and you're in Power Hour, you get the first. I make your calls first. If you're not, you're last and I may not get to them. So 4 straight years when I picked up the phone, 83% of everybody I talk to say yes and they commit to come to the briefing that next week. 83%. My goal is to have 25% show up. We have 44% show up. What's the key there? Reminder call the day before. And we recruit 52%. So here's how simple it is. It takes 5 green cards to get 1 recruit. Simple. Does that make sense? Now, here's the next thing. So we said number 1, when do you get them? You got that. Number 2, how do you get them? And then number 3, what do you do with them? Here's how simple this is. I call it a top 10 flow chart. Okay, watch how simple this is. I mean, do you realize we have this thing that basically down to 3 phone scripts. That's all there is. And you don't have to, that's it. You don't have to come up with any. There's only 3 that you'll ever use. So watch how simple this whole thing is getting a top 10 list. So let's say I got 8 white cards, right? You know what a white card is? What's our purpose? Our goal is to schedule a one-on-one because we want to do what? Financial needs analysis. So here's what happens. The person giving you the white card, they're either getting in the business, they're in the business, or they're not getting in the business. You see how simple it is? Just 2 things. So watch what happens. You see here, if the person giving the referral is not getting in the business, what do? You send the referral letter with the signed PS. You then call using the smiley track of the referral, script, the smiley track. You schedule a one-on-one flip chart presentation and your appointment should be 75% ratio. Okay? Now look at that. That's if they're not getting in the business. Here's the only other thing. They are getting in the business. So if the person giving you the referral is getting in the business, you do a 3-way call with the trainer. So you have the trainer, the trainee, and the potential client. 3-way call. And you use the triangle, the training triangle script, the help me. Needs to go in the field with an expert, needs to witness 3 presentations, right? The goal is to schedule one-on-one to help the trainee finalize requirements. And you should have, I didn't put 100% appointment ratio. I have 99, but I'll tell you what. I have very few that I don't ever set an appointment up because I got third party on the line. When you say third party needs your help, they felt out of all the people they knew, they felt comfortable asking for help. What are they going to say? No, the guy's a bum. He's on the line. If he does say that, bag them all. You understand? But you're not going to get that. So there's all you do. So there's two scripts. Look at this. Here's the other one now. Here's the green cards. That's the only other card you're going to get. So 2 green cards, what's the purpose? The purpose of a green card is you just call on the green card script. It's very, very scientific here now, right? Green card script. So you see what happens in the green card script? 1 of 2 things happen. The person you're talking to is either not interested in getting into business, or they are interested in getting into business. So if they're not interested in getting into business, I go right into the training triangle again. I go right back and say, remember, I got this from third party. So I say, third party again, needs to witness 3 presentations. Would you be willing to help them? You understand that? Now, yes, no, whatever the case would be, look what happens. You go right down to the list again. You schedule a one-on-one to help the trainee, whether they're a silent partner, finalize, whatever the case may be, and your appointment ratio should still be to 99%. Strength of third party. And here's the other one. They are interested in the business. You schedule them to the briefing. You give them a reminder call the day before, and your appointment ratio should be 83% should say yes, and 44% should show. Do you see how simple that process is? Our team alone right now, we average, and that's one thing I love about our team right here. They are a great group of people. And we have 16 district leaders that call in every single day, 7 days a week. And we basically call green cards and IBAs what I call the bookends of the business, and we're now starting to call premium because it's one thing we got to start focusing on. But we average 498 green cards a month from this group. 498 green cards a month is what we average from that 16 group of people. Just raise your, just stand up right there, right where you're at. 498. And let me tell you something. You could say, I'm going to start adopting power hours. But if your people have no place to go, they ain't coming. And so that's why we do a referral inspection every Monday. So what I report to Bob every single week is how many green cards did we get? Who got them? And I report how many, and from our power hour results, how many people were in attendance, how many briefing appointments did we make, how many one-on-ones did we schedule, how many recruits did we get, and what a person's SQ score is, or their weekly schedule, that there's a point system. I forget who made that up. I don't know if it was Steve or whatever. I'll put that together. I'm not sure, but we fax that down every week, folks. That's why we have great power hours. Because our people got places to go, and we start by inspecting their referrals, and you could tell a lot from a person's referrals. If you see referrals going down, 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 week in and week out, they're weak or they're saying something wrong. Numbers tell the story big time. They really do. Now, is it true that some weeks it may go down? It does. It can go down, but then you're back out in the field, you're making some things happen, and it goes. So it's kind of like taking maybe, 4 steps forward, 1 step back, 4 steps forward, and that's normal. That's normal. That'll happen. But if you get people on this type of system, where you're getting it on the front end of dealing with people, right there at the kitchen, and I love being there simply because I'm wanted there. You understand? I got all third-party reference. You say, well, how do you close so much business? Most all our business is done through internal consumption. It's pretty easy. I got the strength of third party, and we're saying all the time, here's what we did for them, here's what we did for them, here's what we did for them. Guess what? They are like the Joneses. They don't want to be left behind. Does that make sense? So now simply here's how it is. You know when do you get them? You know how to get them. And you know what to do with them. Is correct? Now go out and make it happen. Thanks.